Now, the former chairman of the Technical Committee of the National Council on Privatization at Peterside on Thursday outlined a number of key areas that require urgent government attention in order to achieve a resilient economy. Mr. Peterside, who is also the chairman of Stanbic IBTC, focused on the much criticized current exchange rate policy, the bloated civil service, infrastructure deficit, governance, and the need for sale of some government assets. Mr. Peterside was speaking at the Daily Trust Dialogue on Beyond Recession Towards a Resilient Economy.
Virtually all the actions and policies that are required to help build a resilient economy are the exact same ones that will naturally take Nigeria well beyond today's economic recession and onto a path of rapid and sustainable economic growth. If you aim for the skies, you might end up at the ceiling. Likewise, if you do what is necessary to achieve rapid economic growth, then the chances are that you will at least attain modest growth, even where some of your plans fail. My honest summation is that even if we start today to embrace holistic, creative, sincere, and reform-minded economic policies, the animal spirits that these measures unleash will harness the creative and entrepreneurial energies of our people once again, and quickly place us firmly on the path of sustained, rapid, and inclusive growth. The federal government of Nigeria is doing some things right, such as the effort to curb overhead expenses and to be more frugal than past administrations. But then they are also doing many things wrong. Interestingly, when I was invited to speak, I saw the program. The person speaking before me was the finance minister. Because I've heard her speak it before, I knew what to expect. Some of the things I said they are doing right are the things she's mentioned. So I deliberately knew there was no point in my coming here to repeat the things they're doing right. So my focus is on the things they're either doing wrong or the things they should be doing which they are not doing. My observation is that there is a reluctance to completely break from the past and embrace significant economic reforms, even when our present predicament clearly warrants same. If we do not act now, or if we do not act quickly, we may find our economy needlessly mired in a hopeless situation where the citizenry might not witness an increase in income per capita, that is living standards, for 6 to 8 years. The search for an economic policy direction must end now because we are facing an economic crisis. A crisis is an inflection point. It is that point when multiple outcomes become possible. When you superimpose a demanding political calendar, which requires presidential elections in a little over 2 years, it becomes clear that 2017 represents the last full calendar year that this administration has, within which it must embrace major economic reforms. If we expect to still attain many of the more palatable economic outcomes, it is no use arguing over who or what caused the recession or the high inflation of 18.5% plus that we are currently facing. It is far better to focus on what we need to do or what we need to do to get us out of this sorry state. There are several units within the FGN that are carrying out meaningful but disparate actions that solve many fringe economic problems. Various actors appear to be working in silos, solving various fringe problems. What appears to be still missing is a bold, holistic, and audacious effort to harmonize fiscal, monetary, exchange rate, trade, and macroprudential policies in a bold and concerted manner. Very few people want to take on the big gorilla in the room. They prefer to scratch around the fringes or work in silos, whilst almost accepting that the 0.1% growth target is an achievement that we should celebrate because it means that we have come out of a recession. That is why the impact of the federal government economic management team is not being felt. A corollary of this proposition is that many people are simply minding their own business because they fear for their jobs. They are not interested in tackling their colleagues whose actions are negating and or eliminating the most positive outcomes that the government owes the electorate. Meanwhile, the populace is yearning for transformative economic changes. I know that there are those who will criticize me for saying that the FGN's economic policy direction remains unclear. My response to them is that the most significant economic reforms embraced so far by FGN came about rather reluctantly. That is, by FGN hanging on to an untenable position until it eventually disentangled itself or got overpowered by its own internal contradictions. We saw this with petrol prices and also the Naira devaluation. When these reforms came, they arrived in the form of half measures. Thus, we stopped short of both petrol price deregulation, we stopped short of petrol price deregulation and opted instead for a limited price fix that was clearly unsustainable. We equally stopped short of adopting truly market-determined exchange rates and instead embraced a forge that spewed widely divergent multiple exchange rates. Half measures typically bring some pain, but often fail, as in these cases, to yield any lasting gain. Determined to help force through the required soul searching by FGN's economic management team, and I'm here that the finance minister is present, so as the CBN governor as well. The rest of this paper will discuss 11 major policy actions or inactions which FGN and the ruling political party, I think, should consider. My approach is holistic. I'm aware that some of these measures might require a bipartisan consensus. We must shake off the indolent mindset that leads us to believe that all constitutional changes are taboo, or the mindset that shirks any economic action that is out of the ordinary. Accordingly, I seek to draw attention to the following 11 items. Interestingly, of these 11 items, I believe the finance minister mentioned one of them, so that there are 10 that she didn't mention. I'm not saying this to interfere with her speech, but to point out that because I knew I was coming after a finance minister, my focus were on those things that a finance minister may not mention, but which are vital to achieving the growth we seek. So I'll go to the first one. Notice this, that in her speech, she never really mentioned the Central Bank of Nigeria, but I will. My opinion, the Central Bank of Nigeria should accept that its foreign exchange and demand management policies have failed. The more restrictions they have placed on forex repatriation, the less likely it has become that badly needed forex inflows from portfolio investors, foreign direct investors, and Nigerians will pick up. CBN has inadvertently created a siege mentality, thereby making privileged access to its foreign forex allocations, which are reserved largely for the politically well-connected, the best investment game in town. Furthermore, CBN's directive to banks to allocate 60% of forex to manufacturers, who account for only 10% of GDP, has exacerbated an already bad supply situation.
Excerpts of Mr. Peterside, Atido Peterside at a dialogue on beyond recession towards a resilient economy. Our Business Morning continues after now. Stay with us.